Hi, it's Joshua Garcia, and basically, I'm just going to be talking about the goals for this project and what they were. There were five goals. The five goals were update branding to Sprint 4, add five new fishing questions to make it 15 questions, quiz answer feedback being red or green. Obviously, red for incorrect and green for correct, making sure that the user couldn't go to the next question until after they chose the correct answer and it was submitted. And then the dynamic navigation to make it so that the login and log out, that only login was visible. And when you were logged in, then it would switch the login to log out. And if you were just a guest, then you would just run you would just be able to go into the web page and not have to worry about anything. Um, and then also uh, to add on to the login, log out, adding a credential based admin login. And it also allowed for the admin page to appear once the correct credentials were inputted in the login page, once an admin was correctly logged in. Uh, but yeah, those were some of the objectives, or those were the objectives that we addressed this sprint. So yeah. Hi, this is Joshua Garcia. Not sure why it doesn't want to record my face, but it's fine. Um, so this is the demonstration on Sprint, Sprint 4 for Fishguard, and basically from here we are going to everything's basically the same. The way you run it is exactly the same. Um, it really hasn't changed at all, honestly. The For starting it. So here you would get pip.py to make sure you have the proper package installer. If not, then you wouldn't be able to get any of these, like mentioned on the previous demonstrations. So if we just cd into the correct file path, there we go, and make sure we are in it correctly. Yep, perfect. Then so I'm just gonna make sure everything is installed, and yep. So always make sure that Fast API, Unicorn, Jinja 2, Pydantic, and Python Multipart are all installed. And so I already have them installed, so it's already satisfied. Um, there's a new release of pip, but we don't have to worry about that right now. And let's just make sure and start the server. And then from here, we just click on the link that is provided. So yeah, this is the web page. Uh, like it's the same layout, kind of. It's kind of different now. Basically, like mentioned in uh the goals that were accomplished or targeted this specific sprint. So there's now five more questions. So there's 15 questions. Uh, and now when you click it and you submit, it marks it as red to let you know that you got it wrong instead of just looking down here and seeing your score. Um, so yeah, then now you can click next. There's also been another update to specifically the quiz. Is now when you click next, it will not go to the next question until you've answered it. You can move to the previous question and move back and forth with ease. Um, so yeah. And then also the login. Now, basic login is right here. Paste, copy, paste, sign in. Once you signed in, you have access to the admin page. Normally, when you're not signed in as admin, you don't have access to it. For example, if you log out, see the admin page went away, which is nice. You still have access to the privacy. Obviously a disclaimer. And then when you report the phishing attempt, see report log, ticket created. So yeah, and then if we log in again, let me just go to admin. Let's see total reports, and then we can download the CSV file, and it'll just turn into an Excel spreadsheet, basically, and talks about all the stuff. So yeah, that's really it. Nothing, uh, nothing crazy changed, other than obviously the login logout button has been switched to only login, and then when you click it, you go into a page to log in, and then it'll automatically, when you pull up the page, you're going to be a guest instead of asking you if you were continue as guest when you logged in on the previous sprint, or log in as admin. And now it requires you to put a login credentials for admin, which is nice. And then when you are logged in, the admin page is specifically is only accessible on the previous sprint. It was only it would say 404 not found, but now it's just not even there until you log in. And then also now you can see which if you got it right or wrong a lot easier with green and red. And also you can see not see, but there's a lot more questions. There's 5 more questions. So yeah, that's it.
Okay, this slide, I will be talking about the technical overview of our Sprint 4. Um, the system's front end provides a responsive interface that guides users through each question while also requiring a correct answer before processing or proceeding. Um, the back end allows users to record their attempts and retrieve data from the database. This release also introduced a feature that allows users to authenticate and access the system's future features. On this slide, I will be talking about the key design decisions we made for this Sprint 4. Um, Instead of requiring a simple completion, we opted for a correct before progress approach that aims to reinforce learning. To prevent unauthorized access to system admins, routes have been secured. To improve the system's scalability and focus on real learner outcomes. And also the scheme has been expanded to include a more accurate tracking of attempts. Um,
Hello, my name is Jake Spread, and for this project, the first challenge to overcome was the need for students to retry and correct questions before progressing, while still having that option to revisit previous questions. Um, so what we did was essentially block users from continuing the quiz until the correct answer was selected. And that was, they were able to visualize that by the colors. If they chose the correct answer, they'll choose any type of answer they want for that question. Then they'll submit it, and if it was correct, it'll be green, and they'll be able to move on to the next question. However, if it was red, that means it was incorrect, and they will have to retry again. If they wanted to go back to previous questions, maybe that will help them with their question they're currently on. They're able to do that. And some benefits from this, lesson learned was that ensured that users were able to achieve correctness before moving forward in crucial, uh, well, were able to move forward as it was crucial for mastering skills and awareness. And other benefits were higher retention of knowledge, higher sense of confidence and persistence, and it personalized the pace of learning. And by that last point, um, by pace of learning, personalize that, I mean, I'm basically, usually when people take quizzes for awareness or any type of um, educational uh, environment, they have to have it done by a certain time, or they're going against the clock or trying to compare, compete it, complete it along with other people. But with this way, they're able to um, go by questions, and if they personally aren't, getting that question, they could keep on retrying until they're more confident in it. Now for the next challenge that we had to overcome, it was that users felt that it was not enough context to learn from, or maybe it felt repetitive. And this was solved by adding at least 5 more phishing awareness questions, as it helped reinforce learning motivation and overall engagement. Because if students, users are consistently given the same questions, um, they're going to go from trying to learn to just memorizing, and that's going to make them less likely to, take it seriously or attempt, because they already know the answers. With these additional questions, they're able to, they're able to get what they learned from the previous questions and use that to tackle on the new questions. Now, for the final factor that we had to overcome was that the admin dashboard was initially open to all users, and this was resolved by having a login requirement for administrators as a restricted access to only authenticated accounts. And this was primarily tackled because the addition to access controls adds credibility, and it makes it more realistic. Because in other outside of demo uh, websites, you know, the the information for admins will not be accessible to users, nor should it be um, allowed, because if a user wanted to, they could go to the admin um, tab, and then they could download the CSV with those exact answers and just get the answers from that without having to actually learn.